Hello and welcome to my review of The Last Jedi. This is part 4, so if you haven't seen the previous 3 parts, I suggest looking at the link in the description that leads to a playlist of all of the previous parts. If you are returning from part 3, welcome back, and without further ado, let's just get right back into this. So last time we left off with Pink Hair sacrificing herself by lightspeed ramming into the First Order fleet. The Resistance watches on in awe as they are able to escape. Finn wakes up in the burning hangar with Rose dragging him. It's miraculous that they survived that. They start running to a shuttle that is somehow unscathed when Captain Phasma and a group of troops start marching out of the smoke in formation. Wait, wasn't there just like an entire legion of troops all around Finn and Rose before? Captain Phasma was right in front of them and now she's on the other side of the hangar and has gathered troops and gotten into formation? What? How? Just when Phasma is about to fire at them, she is shot by a large laser blast. The troops around her get mowed down and it's revealed to be BB-8 driving an AT-ST. Yeah, I'm just not even gonna touch that. Rose shoots at Phasma and the bullet deflects off of her. Her armor is blaster-proof. Maybe she forgot that in The Force Awakens? A stormtrooper up above somewhere shoots at Rose and she goes behind cover. Where does this stormtrooper go? He just stops shooting and is never seen again. Wonderful consistency. Finn and Phasma begin to fight and she calls him a bug in the system. And he says,
"Let's go, Chrome Dome."
Kind of a cringe line, or whatever. So she beats him and pushes him down into a hole. She turns around to shoot at Rose, and a platform rises with Finn on it. And he says,
"Hey."
Yeah, never mind. Chrome Dome isn't cringe, that is. So he hits her in the face and she's laying on the ground with her mask broken. She calls Finn scum, and he says,
"Rebel scum."
It just never ends with this guy. The floor below her collapses and she falls into a massive pit of fire. Do you think she's dead this time? I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up in the next movie. BB-8 drives them through the rubble and they make it out just in time in the shuttle. It cuts to a close-up of Snoke's dead face. How comical. And Hux is standing there in horror. Kylo wakes up and Kylo says Rey murdered Snoke, and Hux informs him that she took Snoke's escape craft. Kylo demands they send all forces to the base on the planet, and Hux is angered that Kylo is taking charge, saying that the Supreme Leader is dead. Kylo turns around and chokes him, repeating, "The Supreme Leader is dead." And Hux says, "Long live the Supreme Leader." I always found this little back and forth here very jarring. I guess he's implying that he's the next in command or something. I don't know, it's kind of a weird moment. So Leia is standing in front of the big door to the base that the Resistance is hiding in. Why would Leia be standing out waiting for the fighters to come? No one really needs to be standing there and the door doesn't need to be open. I get that they want to see when and where the First Order attack, but minutes later, Finn looks at a radar scope thing and sees the battlefield in front of the door through that. So they don't need the door open to see. Also, why would they have General Leia standing in front of enemy fire like that? She's literally alone and seemingly just waiting to be shot. This is a nice case of style over substance, as yes, this is a cool shot and I guess it's symbolism for Leia kind of being alone now or something. Either way, looks cool but makes no sense. Thank goodness she didn't get shot by TIE fighter lasers or literally rammed by the First Order shuttle. Speaking of, the doors open and it allows a whole First Order shuttle to slide through. Now, of course, this shuttle had only Finn, Rose, and BB-8 in it, so it was all for plot convenience. But what if it was loaded with troops? Or had Kylo Ren on it? They'd be screwed. The shuttle slides in and TIE fighter lasers literally kill or at least knock over a handful of troops. What were they thinking? So the shuttle comes to a stop and all of the troops shoot at the cockpit. If it was loaded with troops, I think they'd come out of the bottom ramp thing, but okay. Geez, even Leia has a big blaster and it's kind of comical really. Luckily it was just Finn and friends and I guess that's the reason for the door being opened or something, I don't know. The Resistance sets up shop and posts as the shields erupt so there can be no orbital attacks, and they're sending out Leia's personal distress signal for help. Okay, I mean, it's their last resort, so it's understandable. Finn looks at the radar scope thing and says they have a battering ram cannon.
A what now?
Exactly what it sounds like, genius. They see the First Order has a weapon to crack open the door. How convenient. They figure out that the big door is the only way in or out. Well, that's not true because later we see the troops going in and out through these tunnel things in the trenches. I mean, clearly they lead in and out, right? I get that it ultimately faces in the same direction as the door, but still, if only the First Order knew about that. So they decide that they just have to buy time and wait for their allies to arrive. They have to take out the big cannon. The troops go out into the trenches and line up in an almost identical shot to the Battle of Hoth. Finn, Poe, Rose, and others fly out in these terrible speeder things. I guess their plan here is to buy time, but it really is just a suicide mission. Tons of them get mowed down for nothing, and I don't really understand what their goal is here. The walkers don't seem to be slowed by the speeders at all, so it kind of just seems pointless. The battle starts to seem hopeless when finally the Millennium Falcon swoops in with Rey in the gunner seat. She one-shot triple kills 3 TIE fighters. Okay. She's better with it than Han Solo or anyone ever was, and she never even used it before. Also, she just kind of appears here with Chewie. Last we see her with Kylo, and apparently stole Snoke's personal ship. I guess she got out and met with Chewie and boarded the Falcon and came to Crate just in time, all off screen. That's like if Luke just showed up on Cloud City in The Empire Strikes Back and you never see how or why he got there. When she woke up in Snoke's throne room before Kylo, what did she do? Did she just leave? It would have been interesting to see her decision of what to do about Kylo before leaving, or how she snuck onto Snoke's ship, and then how she got to Chewie, and then how she knew how to come to that spot on Crate.
Whoa! I like this!
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Kylo and Hux call all fighters to attack the Falcon. I get Kylo hates it because it was Han's ship, but like, it's just incompetent to do that. The Falcon peels off and goes on this chase scene through the caves and the planet. It's reminiscent of the second Death Star chase, and the music is the same. They even pull some of the same shots. Nostalgia, the speeders see that the cannon is getting ready to fire. They try to go straight down the middle to take it out, verbally saying that's the plan. They start getting picked off one by one and Poe calls it off. Finn keeps going right towards the center. Poe continues to tell him to stop and even calls it a suicide run. Now this is where one of the big problems comes in. All Poe has seen this entire film is that sacrifice, and particularly self-sacrifice, is sometimes a necessary action to save everyone. He watches Rose's sister do it in the beginning to stop the Dreadnought, and he just watched Pinkhair do it to save the fleet. I get that Finn is his friend, but Poe should know that the mission is a one-way ticket. There's conflicting things going on here. I like that Finn wants to do it as a final way to stick it to the First Order, but Poe should also be the one to do it, as he has learned about self-sacrifice. I'm very surprised they didn't have Poe do this. They try to portray him as some kind of hotshot, kind of, but not really. I mean, other characters describe him as self-centered and arrogant, but he's not. But no, they make him the one to call it off. Somehow all the walkers just absolutely miss Finn. I get it that he has plot armor, but geez man, they didn't even try. He's moving in a straight line, and they were able to annihilate the other speeders that were strafing and stuff, but Finn is literally going straight forward and the lasers are hitting like crazy far away from him. What are they shooting at? Regardless, it sets up a touching scene. The music ramps up and Finn closes his eyes. It actually baits you into thinking he's going to die and stop the cannon. And out of nowhere, Rose flies from the side and knocks him out of the way just in time. Holy crap, man, there is a whole lot wrong with this. Number one, there is no way at all that this could have been physically possible. When Finn is first going towards the laser, Rose is going full speed in the opposite direction. She would have to go twice his speed if not more to catch up with him, and not only that, but go at a 90-degree angle at one point to intercept him so perfectly. There was just no way this could happen, and it's laughable that it does. What was Ryan thinking? Number two, this move was extremely incompetent. These are two clunky speeders slamming into each other at full speed. Rose T-bones Finn. This would probably just kill or extremely wound both of them. How did she know neither of them would die? How did she know she wouldn't kill Finn by doing this, or herself? I mean, again, this is just so poorly written and incompetent. What was the point of doing this? What was the point of adding this self-sacrifice moment if it's just going to be undercut by this? Why? Why? What in the world is the point of this? Why is this in the movie? Finn jumps out and runs over to Rose, who is wounded. Somehow they are not fired upon or anything while this is happening. And okay, I can't do this. I'm just going to play the scene real quick. You need to see this, and I'll break it down after.
Why would you stop me?
I saved you. Tell me. That's how we're gonna win. Not fighting what we hate. Saving what we love.
Okay, what? So she calls Finn a dummy and that she saved him. She says they're going to win by not fighting what they hate, but by saving what they love? What does that even mean? I am so baffled. Who wrote this? This is like a child's writing. No, not even like a child would write this incompetently. I don't think I need to explain why that line is dumb. I don't know what kind of message that's supposed to be, but it's beyond cringeworthy and childish. It's almost played as a joke or something. Literally right after she says it, the massive laser fires and blows a hole in the wall. Am I the only one that can't help but just die with laughter after seeing that? Let's just pretend that Rey never gets there in time to lift those rocks at the end to get them out of the back way and escort them off with the Falcon. If that never happened, which is something that Finn, Rose, Poe, and the entire Resistance had no control over, the First Order would have stormed into the base and killed all of them. If Rey or Luke would have never came, they would have been doomed. It's just unbelievable. Even going by the nonsensical, strange logic of saving what you love, stopping Finn from sacrificing himself actually isn't saving what she loves. Sure, she's saving Finn. If the rest of the movie would have gone any differently, both of them would have been killed along with the rest of the Resistance. This is like explaining like 2 + 2 or something. I mean, this is so god awful. Rose awkwardly kisses Finn, which we all know would have gotten so much backlash if it was Finn coming onto Rose, because it has no build-up or reason for happening. Yes, they spend the entire movie together, but they never really have much of a connection. Certainly not in that way. Nothing more than a friendship. This moment is so tone deaf. I actually am legitimately confused as to whether or not it's supposed to be a joke. The Resistance realizes no one is coming to help them, and they are prepared to lose. Suddenly, a figure walks into the room, and it's Luke. His hair is now cut and not as gray. Him and Leia share a very nice moment, and it really is awesome that they finally get screen time together after all these years. They even bring back the music from Return of the Jedi that is essentially the Luke and Leia theme, and they also bring back the Han and Leia love theme when Luke gives her the dice. Luke explains that he's come to face Ben, and that he can't save him. Once again, I find it a little bit strange that Luke believes he can't save Ben at all when he was able to turn Vader, but whatever, we've talked about that. He gets up, and he even winks at C-3PO on his way out. Luke walks out from the blasted door and faces the oncoming walkers. Kylo orders to stop and fire all the guns on Luke. Luke is barraged with laser fire until Hux orders to stop. Just when they are about to move forward, Luke walks out from the plume of red smoke. It's pretty cool until Luke brushes off his shoulder to taunt Kylo. Cringe. This doesn't really feel like Luke. Can we at least get one cool moment? Kylo says he's going down to face him and that they should remain stopped until he returns. Hux begins to question him and Kylo comically pushes him against the wall. How funny. Finn drags Rose into the base and yells for a med pack. Wait, how did he get there? Did he drag her across the entire battlefield? I mean, you don't see them when Luke is being fired at, and there's no way they made it past that. I've heard that maybe he takes her through the trenches that the troops were in earlier, but it's clear they lead somewhere inside the base, not into some exit right in front of the door. Not to mention, the trenches don't start until way far away from where Finn and Rose crashed, so they'd still have to walk a long way in direct view of the walkers. People say they went through some kind of cave system with an opening in front of the door, but that isn't shown, hinted at, or mentioned whatsoever, so that's not it. I say again, this is like pre-first draft script stuff. Crazy this even made it into the final film. Kylo lands and walks up to Luke. He asks if Luke came to save his soul, and Luke simply responds with no. Poe figures that Luke is stalling so that they can escape. They no longer hear the sounds of the little crystal foxes that were in the base, and figure they went out through an exit not mapped by the rebels. Rey is shown to be using a beacon to find the Resistance. Rey sees where the foxes are coming out from the base. They find the exit, but it's just a pile of rocks that the foxes are able to slip through. Rey finds this pile from the outside and says to herself, lifting rocks. The very thing that Luke said the Force wasn't about. Kylo and Luke are facing each other, and Luke has the blue Skywalker lightsaber. Luke's feet also don't move the salt on the ground to reveal the red rock. He Matrix dodges all of Kylo's attacks. Something's up here. Luke says he failed Ben, and he's sorry. Kylo, filled with rage, says that the war is over.
The Resistance is dead. The war is over. And when I kill you, I will have killed the Last Jedi.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Luke denies this, saying the war has just begun, and the rebellion is reborn today. Oh yeah, this nearly 60-year-long war is just beginning. He ends by saying he will not be the Last Jedi, and you can really see the emotion in his eyes. It's definitely a good performance. This is one of those moments where out of context, it's actually really cool and is pretty chill-inducing every time. All the while, this voiceover is being played over Rey moving all the rocks out of the way. So at first glance, this is pretty cool, but if you think about it, this task of moving all those rocks would be a feat even for Luke, Remember in The Empire Strikes Back when Luke is struggling to lift like 3 rocks? I always interpreted it like you had to focus on each individual object to move it. Here she's lifting hundreds of big and small rocks and all the little pebbles and specks of dust. She's bypassed the struggle and the training that Luke went through in The Empire Strikes Back, learning how to lift things, how size doesn't matter, focusing, control, all of that. And not just Luke, it's pretty much assumed that all Jedis have to go through this. She can just do this with no training or appreciation for the Force. This makes a moment like this feel not earned. It's not deserved or even surprising or astonishing like the movie makes it out to be. At this point, we're used to Rey being able to just do anything. Back to Luke and Kylo. Kylo says he'll destroy Rey and Luke and everything. Luke says if he strikes him down in anger, he'll always be with him. A play on Obi-Wan's words from A New Hope.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Luke follows this up by saying, just like your father. This enrages Kylo and he runs at Luke, slicing his lightsaber right through him. He turns around to see Luke still there. He puts his saber to Luke's chest to see it is only a projection, explaining why Luke only dodged all of his attacks. It cuts to Luke still on the island, meditating furiously. So all this time, Luke was only a projection, explaining why he looked different, how he got there, and how he had the blue lightsaber. Why did Kylo not sense this? And why didn't he notice the lightsaber was the one he just blew in half? Doesn't he know that lightsaber pretty well?
That lightsaber, it belongs to me.
Was he just so blinded by anger that he didn't think about it? Oh, so he's just incompetent. The usual explanation, huh? Luke says, "See you around, kid," which doesn't really sound like something Luke would say. Maybe he's trying to sound like Han? I don't know. Either way, he fades away and Kylo yells no in failure. Luke has collapsed and seems extremely tired out. The sun is setting and he sits on the rock on the ledge, staring into what is revealed to be a set of twin suns, just like Tatooine. The binary sunset theme builds and then fades, and then Luke disappears, his cloak blowing away in the wind. Whew, man, this is quite a big thing to talk about here. The scene on its own, out of context, is beautiful. I'm someone who looks at Luke as the ultimate hero of the franchise, and he is my favorite character. With the imagery, the music, and seeing that optimistic look on his face as he fades away is so bittersweet and touching. This would be the perfect death for Luke, if the circumstances weren't what they are. So Luke shows up as a projection, which is pretty cool, but he dies anyway? What was the point? Why not just have him fade away there and have him actually show up? Why do the fake out if he's just going to die? It's great that the old heroic Luke is back, but he just dies. What killed him? The effort? If so, that's kind of lame. Did he allow himself to just die? I don't get it. It doesn't actually ever say. The cause for Luke's death isn't even defined. That just seems backwards. Besides that, the scene, as I said on its own, is good, but I only wish this was saved for the next film. Of course, Luke will be back, as we know, most likely as a Force ghost, or they'll retcon it so that he was only teleporting away when he faded, not dying. It at least feels good we got a little bit of the real Luke. The First Order walks into the base and Kylo finds the dice. Him and Rey seem to have one last Force connection, and Rey closes the door on him, literally. If it was Snoke that was bridging them, then who did it this time? The dice fade away in Kylo's hand, and he's left there, alone and defeated. Everyone is on the Falcon and they're all reunited. Rey recounts to Leia that she feels Luke's death, but sense peace and purpose. Leia agrees. Rey asks how they'll build a rebellion from what they have, showing her the broken lightsaber. Leia reassures her that they have all they need, and then that's it. There's this one last scene where the kids from the casino planet are reenacting Luke's actions on Crate, and the boy goes out and uses the Force to grab the broom. He looks up to the stars and the light reflects off the broom, making it look like he has a lightsaber. This is implying that anyone can be like Rey and Jedi without training or knowledge of the Force, totally changing and breaking the entire established mythos. The ending of this film leaves us with nothing. The entire Resistance can fit in one ship, the Millennium Falcon, and they all just seem to be really happy. I understand that they are probably rejoicing because they survived the ordeal at all, but they have nothing. Leia's comment about having everything they need doesn't actually make sense because they don't have everything they need. Or maybe they do, because I'm sure if they just put Rey in front of the First Order, the movie would be over in 2 seconds, as she can pretty much do anything. There's nothing wrong with having a hopeful ending. It doesn't have to end on a low note. The Empire Strikes Back ends on a hopeful moment, but you can still feel the somber mood that the characters have. This ending is far too heroic and happy considering the events that just happened. So that's it. That's the entire movie. It took a long time to get through, huh? But don't worry, I'm not done. I'm going to cut this part here and put the final big analysis into the next part. I would put it in here, but the thing is, I have way more to get into, and it won't fit in this video's time frame. So don't think it's over just because I've gotten through the scene by scene portion. Part 5 is going to be pretty long, but it's going to be the end, the finale, so please stick with me. Thank you so much if you've made it this colossally long into this video and series as a whole, and I look forward to wrapping this up in the next and final part. So I guess all I have to say is, I'll see you then.